Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Listen carefully. You will face moments in your life where silence becomes louder than any applause, where the people you thought would cheer you on don't even look your way, where every step forward feels like you're dragging 1,000 pounds of invisible resistance, where you're not just alone, but doubted, dismissed, underestimated. That's where most people give up. That's where most people start to believe the noise of the world instead of the voice in their soul. And that's exactly where you begin, right there. In the void of validation, when no one believes in you, your belief must become louder than their doubt. Because if you don't believe in you, no one else ever will. If you keep looking outside for a reflection of your worth, you'll only see fragments and shadows of what you're truly capable of. People won't believe in your vision because they've never seen it before. It's your vision. They don't need to see it. They don't need to get it. They don't need to clap for it. That's not their job. It's yours. Your responsibility is to carry that fire, even when the world tries to throw water on it. Even when they roll their eyes, doubt your timing, your dream, your decisions, you keep carrying it. You keep believing. The most dangerous voice you'll ever hear isn't the critic outside. It's the whisper in your own mind that says, maybe they're right. That voice is the thief of your destiny. That's the one you need to confront, silence, and replace with something stronger. You don't need a million people to back you. You need you unshakably, unapologetically, unbreakably. You know why people doubt you? Because they gave up on themselves. They see your courage and it reminds them of their own fears. They watch you risk and it reflects their own retreat. So instead of facing themselves, they attack you. Doubt is their defense mechanism. Don't make it yours. Every time someone tells you, be realistic, what they're really saying is, be small like I was. Every time someone says, that's not possible, what they're revealing is, I couldn't do it, so I don't want to believe you can. And every time someone laughs at your dream, know that their laughter is really fear dressed up as sarcasm. But here's the truth. It's not your job to convince them. It's not your mission to win them over. Your only mission is to become undeniable, to walk into your future with such certainty that their disbelief becomes irrelevant background noise. Not louder, not stronger, not even worth acknowledging. You've been giving too much energy to people who don't even have the courage to try. Too much weight to opinions backed by zero experience. Too much trust in voices that have no stake in your success. Why are you allowing people who've never built anything to tell you how to build? Why are you shrinking in front of people who wouldn't dare stand tall themselves? Stop asking doubters to understand your dreams. They were never meant to carry what only you were designed to hold. You are not here to fit in the mold. You are here to break it. You are not here to follow a script. You are here to write one. And you are definitely not here to be quiet when your soul is screaming to create, to build, to lead, to rise. That scream is your truth. It's your reminder that your belief has to be the loudest thing in the room, especially when the room is filled with doubt. Don't wait for proof to believe. Believe so deeply that it becomes the proof. That's the key. You're not rising because others believe you can. You're rising because you've already decided that you will. You wake up with it. You breathe it. You bleed it. That belief, it's your anchor in the storm. It's your fuel in the drought. It's your light in the dark. And nothing anyone says, nothing anyone doesn't say, gets to take that from you. You're not weak for wanting encouragement. That's human. But you're powerful when you choose to move without it. That's rare. That's where greatness lies. In the choices you make when no one is clapping. In the discipline you build when no one is watching. In the boldness you show when everything inside you wants to shrink. I've seen what happens when someone finally decides to stop waiting to be believed in. They become unstoppable. They stop asking for permission. They stop waiting for someone to come save them. They become their own rescue mission. And everything shifts, not because the world changed, but because they did. You have that power in you right now. Not someday, not when they finally understand, not when you've earned their approval. Now, you don't need to prove your value to someone who can't even recognize their own. Your energy is too precious to spend it convincing people. Invest it in becoming the thing no one believed was possible. You are not here to be understood. You are here to become undeniable. not because of who supports you, but because of who you decided to be, even in silence, even in solitude, even in the shadows of disbelief. When you finally start believing louder than their doubt, something unshakable happens. You no longer bend to fit the world, you rise to shape it. That's where you find your freedom. That's where you find your edge. That's where you finally stop asking, stop explaining, stop apologizing, and just move. That movement doesn't need witnesses. It just needs you. Rejection is not your enemy. It's your redirection. It's life's way of pulling you away from what was never built to carry your greatness. I know it feels like failure. I know it feels like loss. But what you're actually witnessing in those moments is the brutal removal of illusion. The doors that slam in your face were never meant to lead to the life you truly deserve. And deep down, you already know that. When someone walks away, when they overlook you, when they tell you you're not good enough, not ready, not what they're looking for, that's not a verdict on your worth. That's an invitation. It's the moment life invites you to stop outsourcing your value and start owning it. That sting you feel, that ache in your chest, that's not weakness. That's the awakening of something deeper, self-reliance. The power that says, even if you don't choose me, I will still rise. Even if you reject me, I will still build. You've been giving too much weight to people who didn't even see the full picture. They didn't reject you. They rejected a fraction of you, a moment of you, a version of you they couldn't understand. But your journey was never supposed to be shaped by their limited perspective. You're here to outgrow what they couldn't imagine. Rejection isn't the ending. It's the recalibration. It's the chance to finally stop asking for the key to a door you don't even want anymore. You keep thinking the pain is about not being chosen, but the real tragedy would have been getting chosen by the wrong thing. Sometimes life protects you by pushing you away from what your heart thinks it wants, so it can pull you toward what your soul actually needs. There's a kind of clarity that only comes when you're forced to stand on your own, when there's no applause, no approval, no permission. Just you and the decision to either crumble or construct. In those silent moments, you meet your real strength. In those rejections, you meet your real voice. Not the one that echoes other people's opinions. The one that says, I know who I am even if no one claps for it. Most people will run from that silence. They'll chase new distractions, new opinions, new people to validate them. But you don't need a panel of judges to stamp your potential. You don't need a round of applause to know that what you're building matters. You don't need someone to say yes for your life to move forward. Because the minute you stop relying on being chosen, you become unchosen and unstoppable. The second you stop hinging your future on their approval, you reclaim your authority. Rejection forces you to face the question you've been avoiding. Can I still believe in myself when no one else does? And if your answer becomes yes, nothing can stop you. Every story of transformation begins in a moment of rejection. The book that got turned down by every publisher. The artist no one took seriously. The love that was never returned. The job interview that ended with a quiet will let you know. But what separates those who rise from those who fall isn't the rejection. It's what they do next. Do you shut down or do you step up? Let me be clear, this world doesn't hand out validation like candy. It rations it. It tests you. It wants to know if you'll keep going without it. That's where self-reliance is born. Not in the comfort of approval, but in the discomfort of disapproval. Not when you're surrounded by yes, but when you're forged by no. Stop seeing rejection as a wall. It's not. It's a mirror. It's where you see who you are without the mask of acceptance. Can you still move forward when the audience turns away? Can you still speak truth when no one is listening? Can you still love yourself when no one else is clapping? That's what self-reliance looks like. It's gritty. It's raw. It doesn't wait for the weather to change. It builds in the rain. It doesn't beg for an audience. It creates in the shadows. It doesn't break when overlooked. It sharpens. It focuses. It evolves. You don't need the people who said no to change their minds. You need you to change your relationship with rejection. It is not shameful to be turned down. It is not weakness to be told you're not enough. What matters is whether you let it define you or refine you. Let it be your redirection. Let it be the force that turns your gaze inward. You've spent too long believing that your worth must be confirmed by others. It doesn't. It never did. You are allowed to trust yourself before the world does. You are allowed to build without being seen. And you are absolutely allowed to fail forward again and again until what once rejected you watches you rise without it. They didn't have the vision. They didn't have the heart. They didn't have the courage to back you. But you do. You always have. So take the rejection not as a wound, but as a weapon. Let it sharpen your instincts. Let it fuel your resolve. Let it remind you that you are not here to be chosen. You are here to choose yourself. That's the moment you become unstoppable, not because they finally see your value, but because you finally stopped asking. You don't need their belief to begin. You don't need anyone to get it. You don't need validation, recognition, or applause to build the life you want. That breakthrough you're chasing, it was never meant to be powered by other people's opinions. It was always meant to be built by your internal fire, your invisible grit. The belief no one else could see because it was never meant for them. It was meant for you. You keep thinking, if they just saw what I see, if they believed in me, I could finally start. But let me tell you something, the most powerful moves you will ever make in your life will happen while you're still being underestimated, while people are looking at you sideways, while they say things like, that's unrealistic, or who are you to think you can do that? That's when you're dangerous. Because you're moving without their permission. You're building without their blueprint. The truth is, your breakthrough doesn't require mass approval. It requires relentless pursuit, relentless belief in something only you understand. Do you know how many dreams never get off the ground because people waste years waiting for someone to clap first? Do you know how many brilliant, world-changing ideas die in someone's mind because they wanted someone else to say, yes, you got this, before they even tried? You don't need a cheering crowd. You need a deep internal decision that says, I will not wait another minute for someone else to go. Sign my courage. Your power was never supposed to come from the outside in. It's supposed to rise from the inside out. Let them doubt you. Let them overlook you. Let them whisper behind your back. While they're talking, you're working. While they're laughing, you're learning. While they're sleeping on you, you're building what they'll never be ready for. What most people don't understand is that every legend, every success story, every icon, they all started with more doubt than belief. They weren't surrounded by fans. They were surrounded by silence, criticism, even mockery. But that's what forged them. That's what gave them the edge, the hunger, the refusal to wait for applause before they acted. You think belief is something you wait for? I'm telling you, belief is something you choose. It's a war you fight every single morning when you wake up and say, even if no one else sees it, I do. And that's enough. That is enough. You have to understand, people project their fears when they don't understand your vision. They can't see what you see because it wasn't shown to them. It was shown to you. So stop making their disbelief your barrier. You're not crazy for wanting more. You're not arrogant for thinking bigger. You're just awake in a world that's still sleeping on itself. Do not let their small minds design your future. Do not let their safe lives convince you to stay stagnant. You're not here to convince them, you're here to create. Your job is not to drag people into your belief. Your job is to build something so undeniable they won't be able to look away. And yes, you will feel alone at times. You will feel misunderstood. You will question yourself. But that's where the magic happens. That's where resilience is born. That's where breakthrough is built. In the moments where no one else believes, but you keep going anyway. Don't romanticize the idea that belief has to be mutual before momentum begins. It doesn't. Your destiny does not require group consensus. Your path will often feel lonely, but that loneliness is fertile ground for greatness. That quiet is where you stop being distracted and start being dangerous. Because now you're not waiting for approval. You're creating without compromise. And let me be blunt, people will doubt you simply because they've already given up on themselves. It's easier for them to mock you than admit they once had that same fire and let it die. So of course they won't believe. You're a walking reminder of everything they were too afraid to chase. Don't take it personally. Just take it as a sign you're moving in the right direction. Keep building in silence. Keep preparing while they sleep. Keep developing your craft when no one's watching. Because one day, the same people who dismissed you will ask how you did it. And you'll smile, not out of arrogance, but out of the quiet knowing that you never needed them to begin with. You were always enough. Your vision was always valid. Your breakthrough was never dependent on being believed. It was dependent on being consistent. And you did that. You stayed in the game when it felt like no one even knew you were playing. That is power. This is where the shift happens, when you finally stop needing external faith and start moving with internal fire. That's when your steps become unstoppable. That's when your decisions become non-negotiable. That's when the universe starts bending toward your will, because you're not asking anymore. You're acting. No more delays. No more, what if they don't support me? No more shrinking to fit their comfort zone. You don't need their belief to make it real. You need your belief. You need your heart, your hands, your voice. That's all. Because when belief becomes your own standard, not a shared currency, you'll realize you were never waiting on them. They were just in the way. Now get out there and build. Not because they said you could, but because you finally decided you will. Rejection is not your death sentence. It's your wake-up call. It's not the universe closing doors to destroy you. It's closing the ones that were never going to lead you to who you're meant to become. But most people take rejection as a verdict. They hear no and translate it into not worthy. They feel unloved and start believing they're unlovable. But you're different. You have the power to turn every no into rocket fuel. When someone doesn't choose you, it's not your cue to collapse. It's your moment to rise. Because rejection at its core is not about your lack of value. It's often about someone else's lack of vision. They couldn't see your worth, your fire, your depth, your brilliance. And that's not a you problem. That's a them problem. You've got to stop internalizing their blindness as your brokenness. You were not rejected because you weren't enough. You were rejected because your soul, your truth, your energy didn't align with that environment, that person, that opportunity. It's not that you don't fit, it's that you were never meant to. You don't owe anyone smallness just so they can feel safe around your greatness. You don't owe anyone your light dimmed so they don't feel threatened by your shine. So when life rejects you, understand it's realigning you. There's something deeply powerful that happens the moment you decide that rejection will not define your narrative. Because when you stop fearing the word no, you become unstoppable. You stop asking for permission to take up space. You stop shrinking every time someone doesn't clap for you. And instead, you start building from a place that doesn't need applause, doesn't need validation, doesn't need a standing ovation to keep going. Listen, the most beautiful things in your life will often be born in the wreckage of something you thought was supposed to last. That job you didn't get, that person who walked away, that opportunity that disappeared just when you were counting on it, those things sting, no doubt. But that sting isn't your end. It's the sharp clarity you need to see something better, deeper, stronger inside you. Rejection builds character in a way comfort never could. It teaches you how to stand on your own. It shows you how to fall without fear. It strips you down, not to destroy you, but to reveal the version of you that doesn't need to be picked to feel powerful. The version of you that already knows their worth. Because here's what no one tells you, the rejection you're so afraid of, it's already happening every time you play small. Every time you silence your truth just to be liked. Every time you twist yourself into someone else's version of lovable. That's the worst kind of rejection, the one you do to yourself. The one where you abandon you just to avoid being abandoned by someone else. That's not survival. That's slow spiritual suicide. When you get rejected and you still choose yourself, something radical happens. You become dangerous in the best way, because now you're not waiting to be chosen. You are choosing. You're choosing your voice, your value, your next move. And that's the moment life begins to open up in ways you couldn't even imagine. Rejection can be a redirection, but only if you stop seeing it as a loss and start seeing it as a lesson. What did it teach you? What did it reveal about your patterns, about your needs, about the version of you that you've outgrown? Because you don't just get rejected by people. You get rejected by past versions of yourself. That old you that kept tolerating less, that old you who couldn't set boundaries, that old you who begged for crumbs, that version of you is getting rejected for a reason. It no longer serves where you're going. And please hear this deeply: rejection is not a reflection of your lovability. Your worth doesn't rise and fall with someone else's ability to appreciate you. Their opinion doesn't hold the keys to your future. And if they couldn't see your value, thank them for getting out of the way so someone else can. Stop asking what's wrong with you every time someone doesn't choose you. Start asking what's right with you that your soul refuses to settle. Start asking how this moment is actually freeing you from a future that would have caged your brilliance. The right people, the right places, the right opportunities, they won't reject the real you. They'll recognize it. You've got to become the kind of person who can survive the sting without losing the soul. You've got to become someone who can take the hit, feel the hurt, and still move forward with your dignity intact. Because that's where real strength is born. Not in being untouched, but in rising after you've been discarded. When rejection comes, let it sharpen you, not shatter you. Let it ignite your vision, not suffocate your hope. Don't sit there trying to prove your worth to someone who's already decided to misunderstand it. That's not your purpose. That's not your mission. Your mission is to keep growing, keep glowing, keep showing up for yourself in ways that no rejection can erase. You are not defined by who doesn't choose you. You're defined by who you become when they don't. Every no you survive makes your yes even more powerful. Every closed door builds the muscle you need to kick open the next one. And every time you keep loving yourself despite the silence, the absence, the heartbreak, you win. You win because you didn't let rejection harden you. You let it hone you. So when it happens, when you feel that sting, when you hear that, not you, when you watch something slip through your fingers, don't fold. Don't collapse. Don't question your entire identity. Stand tall. Breathe deep. And remember, you're not being pushed away. You're being pushed forward. They can doubt you. They can question your intentions, mock your dreams, misunderstand your passion, and label your ambition as foolish. That's their right. Let them. But don't you dare join them in that doubt. The moment you start agreeing with their disbelief, you hand over your future, your fire, your entire becoming to people who were never meant to carry it. You know what's easy? Doubting, dismissing, judging. Anyone can do that. Most people live their whole lives on the sidelines, throwing cheap opinions at people who have the guts to move. So if they're doubting you, congratulations, you've already stepped into a higher league than them. But what matters now is this: will you keep believing when the room goes quiet? Will you trust your vision when no one echoes it back? There's a line no one sees between the world doubting you and you starting to doubt yourself. And that's the war. That's the place where most people fall. Not because the world said they couldn't, but because they started to believe it. They let the noise outside drown out the whisper inside. But not you. Not this time. You are not built for collapse. You are not wired for regret. You are fire, and fire doesn't ask for permission to burn. Your strength isn't found in who claps for you. It's found in who you are when they don't. When you get up with no praise, when you show up with no crowd, when you bet on yourself with nothing but a trembling voice and a stubborn heartbeat. That's where you meet your power. That's when your character becomes diamond. Because you dared to hold on to belief in a storm of doubt. And it's not arrogance. It's alignment. It's knowing who you are before the world tells you who you're not. You're not here to play small so other people feel safe. You're not here to dull your shine so someone else's comfort zone isn't threatened. You're here to rise, to stretch, to shatter what they thought was possible. And the only thing you need to do that is to stay fiercely, defiantly rooted in your belief. Even when it's the only voice left, they will project their fears on you. They'll say, be realistic, because they never dared to be bold. They'll say, it's too late, because they gave up too soon. They'll say, don't try too hard, because they were too afraid to start. And if you're not careful, you'll internalize their fears as your own. But that's not your story. Your story is the one where you kept showing up, where you built brick by brick while they laughed, where you stood in the silence and didn't flinch, where you turned every rejection into resolve. Because here's the secret: people don't always doubt you. They doubt what they don't understand. They doubt what challenges their own comfort. They doubt what makes them uncomfortable with their own unlived potential. Your belief in yourself isn't the problem, it's their mirror. You reflect the courage they buried, the dreams they traded for comfort, the chances they never took. And instead of facing that truth, they aim it at you. But that's not your burden to carry. Let them hold their own fear. You've got purpose to protect. And the moment you let someone else's doubt take root in your mind, it begins to choke the life out of what could be the greatest transformation of your life. Your doubt isn't harmless, it's sabotage, silent, creeping, lethal sabotage, and it always wears the same disguise. Maybe they're right. They're not. They don't know the fire that kept you awake. They didn't feel the ache of every setback. They weren't there in the dark when you made the choice to rise again. They didn't build it. They don't get to break it. Your belief is yours, sacred, unshakable, and it has to become non-negotiable. Every great chapter begins with disbelief. Every revolution starts with a laugh. Every trailblazer walks through a fog of silence, surrounded by people who can't see what they see. That's not a sign to stop. That's the proof you're doing something real. So let them doubt you. Let them whisper. Let them roll their eyes. But you double down on your vision. You keep moving. You keep investing. You keep growing, learning, risking, failing, rising. And every time you want to quit, you remember this: your job is not to convince them. Your job is to become undeniable. And that happens not through words, but through results, through resilience, through consistency, through a refusal to sit back down when life knocks you off your feet. Don't be surprised when people doubt you. Be surprised when you start doubting yourself. Because the second you internalize that doubt, you stop being a warrior and start becoming a victim. And that's not you. You are not here to be the broken echo of someone else's fear. You are here to be the voice that says, I am going anyway. Even if I fail forward. Even if I fall, I rise stronger. Even if I lose today, I haven't lost me. You are not fragile. You are not fragile. You are not fragile. You are becoming. And in the becoming, you will face every form of resistance that says you can't. But if you listen close enough, you'll hear your own voice respond, just watch me. Let their doubt stay theirs. Don't borrow it. Don't wear it. Don't rehearse it. Rise above it. Burn through it. Because when you believe in yourself so deeply, so fiercely, so fully, that belief becomes its own force of nature. They can doubt you, but don't you dare doubt you.